Have you ever met someone who loves so patiently, it almost feels like they're from another world? Someone who waits. Who stays. Who doesn't rush your heart. Or maybe you've felt it yourself. That deep need to hold on to something real. Something lasting. Something safe. Here's the truth. In a world full of fast love and empty promises, there's one sign quietly teaching us a different way. Taurus. But Taurus isn't just about being patient or stubborn, like people often say. No. There's something deeper happening inside them. Something ancient. Something almost divine. Why do they fear betrayal so deeply? Why does change shake them to the core? Why do they love with a slowness that feels like forever? Today, we're going to answer those questions. Because Taurus isn't just a zodiac sign. Taurus is a life lesson. A message about love, about trust, about real strength, the kind that doesn't need to shout to be powerful. In this video, I'll share with you 18 deep truths about Taurus that will change the way you see this sign, and maybe even the way you understand yourself. So, if you're ready to explore the psychology behind Taurus, and discover why they might just be life's greatest teachers of love and patience, stay with me. And before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message today. Now, let's begin. Let me ask you something. Have you ever fallen in love? Slowly? The kind of love that doesn't sweep you off your feet, but instead, plants roots beneath them. A love that builds itself, piece by piece, day by day, without you even noticing, until one morning you wake up and realize, this isn't just love. This is home. That's the way Taurus loves. Not in a hurry. Not in a rush. And that's not a weakness. It's wisdom. Emotional patience. Something we've almost forgotten in today's world. Taurus knows that anything rushed is fragile. Feelings that ignite too fast often burn out just as quickly. So they hold back, but not because they don't feel. They hold back because they feel too much. Their heart needs to be sure. They're teaching us something important. That real love grows quietly. Taurus waits until the connection is deep enough to trust. And once that trust is there, they don't let go. Think about your own life. How many times have you rushed into something, only to watch it fall apart? Maybe what you needed was a little more Taurus in your heart. And it's not just about love. Taurus carries a different kind of intelligence. A wisdom that comes from their senses. While the world chases answers in complicated logic, Taurus stops and listens to something much older. Touch. Taste. Smell. Sound. Sight. They trust their body. They trust what they can feel. And maybe that's why they're so grounded. While others get lost in overthinking, Taurus reminds us, sometimes, the answers aren't in your mind. They're in your skin. They're in the warmth of someone's hand. In the silence of a steady breath beside you at night. In the taste of food made with care. Sensory wisdom. It's simple. But it's powerful. If you're feeling lost, overwhelmed by decisions, pause. Listen to your body. Ask yourself, what feels real to me right now? Taurus lives by that question. And maybe we should too. But here's the thing people don't see. Beneath their calm surface, Taurus carries a wound. The fear of betrayal. If you've ever seen a Taurus pull away, shut down, or guard their heart without warning, it's not because they've stopped caring. It's because once, someone hurt them so deeply, they promised themselves, never again. That's why they build walls. That's why it takes time to get close. And even when they do let you in, a part of them will always watch, always wait, for signs of danger. It's not about being suspicious. It's about survival. Taurus remembers every scar. Every broken promise. They carry it silently. So if you love a Taurus, be patient. Show them your loyalty not through words, but through time. Through showing up. Again and again. And if they've been hurt before, understand that trust, once broken, doesn't just heal. It needs to be rebuilt. Slowly. Carefully. Brick by brick. You might not even realize how much they're testing you, watching if your actions match your promises. But if you prove yourself, you'll gain something rare. A love that refuses to give up on you. Now, let's talk about something Taurus rarely shows. Vulnerability. Have you ever met someone who looks strong on the outside, but hides their pain so deeply? Even they forget it's there? That's Taurus. Behind their calm voice, their steady presence, there's often a tender heart terrified of being hurt again. Their vulnerability isn't obvious. It's hidden behind routines, work, distractions, and their famous stubbornness. But it's there. That's why they hate sudden changes. Not because they're boring, but because change exposes their soft spots. When life shifts too fast, Taurus doesn't know how to protect their heart. It shakes their entire foundation. Maybe you know that feeling. When everything familiar is stripped away. And suddenly, you feel lost. That's what Taurus lives through every time life forces them out of their comfort zone. And yet, here's the miracle. Their vulnerability doesn't make them weak. It makes them human. It's what allows them to connect so deeply when they finally let you in. Their fear of change? That's just their soul asking for safety. Stability. Something constant in a world that spins too fast. If you've ever judged yourself for fearing change, maybe it's time to forgive yourself. Like Taurus, you're not broken. You're just protecting the parts of you that love too deeply. So when you meet a Taurus, or when you see Taurus in yourself, remember this: their patience isn't hesitation. It's wisdom. Their quiet is not emptiness. It's listening. Their fear of betrayal isn't distrust. It's the memory of a wound they're still carrying. And their vulnerability is the most sacred thing about them. Because hidden behind every strong, silent Taurus is a heart that simply wants to feel safe enough to love without fear. Maybe that's all any of us are looking for. Have you ever wondered why some people seem so strong, yet their strength feels gentle? Taurus doesn't need to shout to prove themselves. They don't need to win every argument or stand in the spotlight. Their power is quieter. It's in the way they show up. The way they keep their word. The way they carry on, even when no one is watching. This isn't weakness. This is quiet strength. In a world that rewards loud voices and constant movement, Taurus reminds us that consistency is a superpower. Think about it. Who do you rely on in your life? It's probably not the person who makes grand promises. It's the one who simply shows up. Again and again. The one who answers your call at 2 a.m. without asking why. The one who stands beside you when everything falls apart. That's Taurus energy. And it's a lesson we can all learn. True power doesn't demand attention. It earns trust. But what happens when that strength turns into something else? When care becomes control. Because here's the hidden truth about Taurus: their loyalty can sometimes feel like possessiveness. Not because they want to own you, but because they're terrified of losing what they love. Picture this. You're holding something precious, something you're afraid to break. What do? You hold it tighter. That's Taurus. Their protectiveness comes from love. From a need to keep their world safe. But if you're on the other side of that, it can feel heavy. Like you're being held too tightly. If you love a Taurus, remember this. When they seem controlling, they're not trying to limit you. They're trying to protect their heart. They're afraid of losing the one thing that gives them stability, you. And if you're a Taurus, ask yourself, are you holding on too tightly? Are you protecting, or are you controlling? Sometimes, the best way to keep someone close is to let them feel free. Love isn't about possession. It's about trust. And yet, when it comes to love, Taurus holds a wisdom few people understand. Have you noticed how easily people give up these days? One fight, and it's over. One misunderstanding, and they walk away. But Taurus doesn't work like that. When they choose to love, they commit. Not for a season, but for a lifetime. Their belief in love is unshakable. Even when things get hard. Even when they feel hurt. They stay. They fight for the connection. Because to Taurus, love is worth the struggle. They see challenges not as signs to leave, but as opportunities to grow closer. Think about your own life. Have you walked away too soon? Have you ended something just because it wasn't easy anymore? Maybe you needed to hold on just a little longer. Like Taurus does. Their persistence in love isn't stubbornness. It's faith. Faith that love can survive storms, if both people are willing to weather them together. Now, let's talk about something Taurus rarely admits, their sensitivity to change. People think Taurus just loves routine. But it's deeper than that. Change scares them. Not because they're rigid, but because change threatens their sense of security. Imagine building a life that feels safe, only to have it shift without warning. For Taurus, that's not exciting. It's terrifying. Their soul craves stability. Predictability. Something they can count on when the world feels chaotic. When change comes too fast, it shakes their entire emotional foundation. And yet, this sensitivity is also their gift. It makes them more empathetic. More attuned to subtle shifts in people's moods, to small changes in their environment. They notice what others ignore. And because of this, they're often the first to sense when someone needs comfort. Their fear of change gives them the ability to care, to soothe, to offer grounding to those around them. So if you're a Taurus, don't see your discomfort with change as a weakness. See it as a reminder. You were born to be a stabilizer in a chaotic world. And if you know a Taurus, be gentle when life shifts. They're not resisting to be difficult. They're just trying to protect the inner peace they worked so hard to build. These 4 truths are just the beginning. Because while Taurus may seem simple on the surface, their inner world is rich, complex, and full of lessons for anyone willing to listen. But what comes next will take us deeper. Much deeper. In the next part of this video, we'll uncover insights that are more personal, more vulnerable, and for some, maybe even a little controversial. Stay with me. The final truths about Taurus might just change the way you view love, trust, and strength forever. Have you ever sat in silence with someone and felt safe without saying a single word? That kind of quiet isn't emptiness. It's presence. And that's something Taurus understands deeply. They don't speak to fill space. They don't act just for the sake of doing something. Taurus uses silence as a language. A way of holding space for people they love. When life feels overwhelming, when emotions are too heavy for words, Taurus doesn't need to fix the problem. They simply sit beside you. Steady. Calm. Unmoving. And somehow, that feels like enough. Maybe more than enough. Their silence tells you, you're not alone. And in today's noisy world, that is a rare gift. It's a form of communication many of us have forgotten. How often do we rush to give advice? To solve someone else's pain? Taurus shows us that sometimes, healing doesn't come from solutions. It comes from presence. From someone sitting beside you and letting your heart catch its breath. If you've ever found yourself unsure what to say when a loved one is hurting, remember Taurus. Sometimes, your presence says more than your words ever could. But here's something even more fascinating. Behind that calm presence, Taurus is always watching, listening, sensing. They're absorbing every detail, every change in tone, every small shift in your behavior. Not to judge you, Not to control you, but because their intuition is their protector. Taurus has a gift that few people understand. They sense deception long before it's obvious. Call it gut feeling. Call it instinct. Taurus calls it survival. They trust patterns. They trust energy. They notice when something feels off. Think about it. Have you ever ignored your gut, only to regret it later? Taurus doesn't make that mistake. If something feels wrong, they believe that feeling. They may not confront you immediately, but they'll pull back. They'll protect their energy. And when they do finally ask questions, it means they've already seen more than you realize. Their ability to sense dishonesty comes from emotional intelligence, from paying attention to patterns over time. This isn't paranoia. It's self-preservation. If you're in the life of a Taurus, understand this: you can't fake trust with them. They'll know. Not because of what you say, but because of what you don't say. Because of what your energy tells them. Be honest. Be real. That's all they're asking for. Because once they sense betrayal, it's already too late. Now let's talk about something few people expect from Taurus: their vulnerability. Most people see Taurus as stable, strong, grounded. But deep down, they're more fragile than they seem. They carry insecurities, just like anyone else. But they hide them well. Their vulnerability isn't loud. It doesn't ask for attention. It waits in silence, hoping no one will notice. But it's there. And it shows itself in small ways. In hesitation. In moments of pulling back. In those nights when they're unusually quiet. Why does Taurus hide their vulnerability? Because in their world, being soft means being unsafe. So they build walls. They rely on routines. They focus on work. They do whatever it takes to avoid facing those fragile parts of themselves. But this vulnerability, it's not weakness. It's their humanity. It's what makes their love so real. Because when they let you see it, when they trust you enough to show you the cracks in their armor, that's when you know you're important to them. If you are a Taurus, hear this. Hiding your vulnerability doesn't make it disappear. It just buries it deeper. Let someone in. Not everyone will hurt you. And if you love a Taurus, be gentle. Don't push them to open up. Just be there. Consistently. Softly. Let them choose the moment when their heart feels safe. And when life breaks them down, which it will, watch carefully. Because this is where Taurus reveals their hidden strength. They may cry. They may retreat. They may crumble for a moment. But then, something incredible happens. They get back up. Slowly. Quietly. Without needing applause. Taurus has a resilience that can't be taught. It comes from the soul. When life knocks them down, they don't stay down. They rebuild. Not because they don't feel pain, but because they believe there's still something worth fighting for. Have you ever watched someone who should have given up, choose to keep going? That's Taurus. Their strength isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's the steady, determined force of a soul that refuses to break. And here's the truth. That's the strength we all need. Life will knock you down. Love will disappoint you. People will break your trust. And in those moments, remember Taurus. Feel your pain. Rest if you need to. But don't stay down. Stand back up. Not for anyone else. For yourself. Because every time Taurus rises again, they're not just healing themselves. They're showing us what resilience really looks like. And this is the heart of Taurus. Quiet strength. Sensory wisdom. Silent presence. Emotional vulnerability hidden behind walls. and a resilience that keeps them moving forward, even when their heart feels broken. But we're not done yet. Because what's coming next are the final 3 insights. And trust me, they're the deepest, most personal, and perhaps the most surprising truths about Taurus you'll ever hear. Stay with me. You're about to see a side of Taurus that most people never understand. Have you ever noticed how some people give everything, without saying a word about it? That's Taurus. They love not through grand gestures or dramatic words, but through quiet loyalty. And nothing reveals that loyalty more clearly than the way they kiss. It might sound strange. But stay with me. For Taurus, a kiss isn't just a kiss. It's a promise. A symbol of loyalty. A silent way of saying, I'm here. I'm not leaving. When a Taurus kisses you, they're not thinking about the moment. They're thinking about forever. Every kiss is deliberate. Every touch means something. They don't waste affection. They don't give it easily. But when they do, it's real. Think about your own life. When was the last time you slowed down enough to feel a kiss? Not just receive it, but truly feel the meaning behind it? Taurus reminds us that physical touch is sacred. It's how we communicate what words can't always express. Love isn't just something you say. It's something you show. And Taurus shows it, one kiss at a time. Now let's talk about something even more powerful. Parenthood. If you've ever seen a Taurus become a parent, you'll understand what I mean. They take that role seriously. Not out of obligation, but out of purpose. When a Taurus becomes a mother, a father, a guide, it becomes their mission. Their child isn't just their responsibility. Their child is their legacy. Their future. And Taurus will protect that future at any cost. They'll work longer hours. They'll sacrifice sleep. They'll put their child's needs above their own, without thinking twice. But here's the thing. They're not always expressive about it. You might not hear I love you every day from a Taurus parent. But you'll see it. In the meals they prepare. In the stability they provide. In the quiet, steady presence that never disappears. And if you grew up with a Taurus parent, maybe now you understand why they seemed so strict. So serious. They weren't trying to control you. They were trying to prepare you for a world they knew wouldn't always be kind. That's love. Taurus love. Silent. Steady. Fierce. But there's a side to Taurus people don't often talk about. A side that's more uncomfortable. Their deep dislike for false promises. You see, for Taurus, words aren't cheap. Promises aren't made lightly. When they say something, they mean it. And they expect the same in return. But in a world full of broken promises, that expectation often leads to disappointment. Taurus doesn't just feel hurt when someone breaks a promise. They feel betrayed. They feel disrespected. Because for them, a promise is sacred. It's a contract of trust. And when that trust is broken, they don't forget. Maybe you've felt this too. Maybe you've been promised forever, only to be left alone. Maybe someone told you they'd never hurt you, and then they did. If so, you understand Taurus on a soul level. And if you're the one who broke the promise, understand this. Taurus will forgive, maybe. But they'll never believe your words the same way again. The damage is done. And it takes more than apologies to rebuild what's been lost. It takes action. Repetition. Time. If you're a Taurus, your sensitivity to false promises is not a weakness. It's your soul protecting you. But be careful. Don't let past betrayals turn you cold. Keep your standards high, but your heart open. And now, we reach perhaps the most misunderstood part of Taurus. Their sensuality. Yes. Taurus is sensual. But not in the way people think. It's not just about passion or physical pleasure. It's about connection. For Taurus, touch is spiritual. Physical closeness is how they bond, how they express care, how they build trust. When they hold you, they're grounding themselves. When they kiss you, they're sharing their energy. When they make love, they're creating emotional safety. It's not about lust. It's about presence. About being fully in the moment with the person they trust. And this is where Taurus offers us a powerful lesson. In a world obsessed with speed, Taurus teaches us to slow down, to experience life with all five senses, to savor touch, to taste food without distraction, to hear the words "I'm here" not just with your ears, but with your skin. That's sensuality. And it's something every one of us needs. Not just Taurus. So, whether you're in a relationship or not, ask yourself. Are you rushing through moments that could bring you closer to someone? Are you touching just to touch, or to connect? Taurus reminds us, physical closeness is sacred. Treat it like a ritual. Like a prayer. Slow down. Feel it. And in doing so, you might just experience a deeper kind of love. And this is the secret world of Taurus that few people truly understand. Loyalty expressed through simple gestures. Parenthood carried as a sacred mission. Trust valued above all else. And sensuality, not as desire, but as devotion. But don't think we've reached the end just yet. Because what comes next will take us to the deepest level of all. The final 3 truths about Taurus. And they are perhaps the most surprising, the most misunderstood, and for some, the most uncomfortable to hear. Stay with me. You're about to discover what truly makes Taurus God's chosen guardians of love and patience. Have you ever felt like you were holding something precious, and the only way to protect it was to hold it tighter? That's Taurus. But sometimes, what they hold on to isn't just love. It's control. Not because they're possessive in the way people often assume, but because their heart carries a fear they rarely admit. The fear of losing what feels safe. The fear of losing someone who matters. When Taurus loves, they invest their entire soul into that connection. And when you've built your life around someone, letting them go, even just a little, feels terrifying. So Taurus holds on. Sometimes too tightly. They check where you are. They need to know who you're with. They try to keep the relationship within their control. Not because they want power, but because they're protecting their world. If you're in a relationship with a Taurus, you might feel this. The tension between their love and their need to protect it. If you're a Taurus, maybe you've noticed this in yourself. And here's the lesson: real love isn't about holding tighter. It's about trusting deeper. It's knowing that someone stays, not because you're gripping them, but because they choose to. Let your love breathe. Let it move. Let it be free. That's when it grows stronger. That's when it lasts. And if you're loving a Taurus, remember, when they hold on too tightly, what they're really saying is, "I'm afraid of losing you." Reassure them. Love them without pulling away. And help them understand, they don't need to guard you. They just need to trust you. But at the heart of Taurus, beneath their loyalty, their possessiveness, their strength, is something most people miss. Their patience. Taurus is the slow builder. The steady heart. The soul that waits. In love, in friendship, in life, they don't rush. They let things unfold naturally. Because they understand something we often forget. That real connection takes time. Think about it. When was the last time you let something grow slowly? When did you last give yourself permission to wait? To trust the process? Taurus shows us that patience isn't just a virtue. It's a strategy. It's the quiet belief that what's meant for you will find its way to you in its own time. And when Taurus loves, they wait for the right moment to open their heart. to say I love you. To trust fully. Not because they're distant, but because they're waiting for that one moment when everything feels safe. When the connection feels unbreakable. And when they do choose, when they give you their heart, it's not a passing emotion. It's forever. So if you are Taurus, don't let anyone make you feel wrong for your patience. It's not hesitation. It's wisdom. And if you love a Taurus, don't mistake their slowness for disinterest. They're not running from you. They're building trust. Quietly. Carefully. And once that trust is built, it's the safest place you'll ever know. Because Taurus love doesn't fade. It endures. And now, as we reach the end of this journey together, maybe you're realizing something. That Taurus is not just a zodiac sign. Taurus is a reminder. A quiet lesson from life itself. That love doesn't need to be rushed. That loyalty doesn't need to be loud. And that strength doesn't need to be visible to be real. Perhaps you see Taurus in someone you love. Or maybe you see Taurus in yourself. Either way, I hope today's video gave you more than just information. I hope it gave you understanding. Of the hearts that love quietly. Of the souls that protect themselves in silence. Of the strength that builds slowly, patiently, over time. If you found a piece of yourself in this video, if you felt seen, if you thought of someone while listening, don't forget to subscribe. There are more stories waiting for you here. More lessons about love, trust, and the human heart. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who's been misunderstood, someone who loves too quietly, share this video with them. Sometimes, understanding is the greatest gift you can give. I promise you, what's coming next on this channel will take us even deeper. Into the psychology of connection. Into the mysteries of the soul. Into the quiet truths we often overlook. So stay with me. And remember, real love doesn't rush. Real love waits.